Hey, good morning, everybody. Hope y'all straight. I had another little video for y'all or whatnot, but this one, I really wanted to talk to y'all about just turning your light down and just, being comfortable and being afraid to go get it. Being afraid to be the most bright, shining star, being afraid to be the best one in the world, the best one in the room, really, like this one I'm kind of just speaking from my own personal experiences and, something another test I come up upon on my journey, I already know that you're gonna be able to receive something from this one. This is gonna be able to help you out. So as we on our path, on our path for real, like look back in your childhood, you've mastered the good side, people always tell you, treat people right, do people right, love other people, supposed to look out for people, protect people, you've been kind of slick doing that your whole life, you mastered that. That's in you. You'll give $1 to somebody that need it. You'll help somebody out if they really need it. You'll listen to somebody just spill out their life and spill out their problems, So you mastered that side, You mastered that side of just chilling. You always gonna be good, That's in your heart, That's in your heart, you straight. So that's one side of basically, reaching your God self, but you have another side of the God self that I'm really coming across, and it's that initiative side. Before I was looking at it as aggressive and savage, but really this is just you could say it's a little bit more serious side, but this side is a little bit more assertive. It's a little bit more, maybe yang, maybe the right word, like how you have yin is a little bit more passive. It's kind of just chilling, kind of going with the flow, like it's not really doing too much or whatnot, It's still doing, but it's kind of really just chilling or whatnot, That's one side, but you also have like the fire side. You had a side that's like real, just raging and real, just real energetic and real raw and powerful, You also have to learn how to use that side too. And I feel like that's like the side where the darkness initiates you. When we in our life, you grow up, parents might have did things for you, things was always in the know, things was always comfortable for you, things was always set inside that you had a foundation, where they had been in your household, yourself growing up, you had your friends growing up or whatnot, you had your own little dreams, everything that you wanted to do, so you hadn't really experienced nothing in life to really so-called break you. Life was still good. You really kind of thought that everything in life was just all perfect, everything still is, but it was kind of a little naive perception to it, everything was all good, you had your foundation and everything, really. You had a reality foundation, and that reality foundation was given to you by society, and it was given to you by your parents, and it was given to you by your first experiences when you came to the earth. So, that's what forms your way of thinking. That's what formed your perception of the world, So, right now in your heart, you think that the world is a certain way. Whatever you think the world is, that comes from your experiences and the foundation that your parents gave to you and the foundation that society really gave to you in school, if you went to church or whatnot, people wherever, that you experienced. So you had that foundation, and that foundation made you a certain type of way, like, you was living a certain type of way. But as you started to get older and as you started to really question some things, you really started to be able to see things for what they really were, So things that might have been there this whole time, they've been there all your life, but you might not necessarily been able to see them for what they were, So while you were in high school and everything was all cool, and even in middle school, everybody was all cool, everything was all good. As you got older and certain experiences, you can kind of start to see things a little bit more for what they are, You can kind of start to see that, yeah, this person so-called tells me that they're my friend or whatnot, but they tell me that, but they don't really show it, They don't really with, even how they speak to me, in the midst of other people, they don't really treat me like a friend or whatnot. Yeah, they say that everyone is equal in this society. They say that we have an equal opportunity, but, just due to the color of my skin, people are giving me like weird type of looks. People are following me around, like people are judging me, and people, like are treating me different just because of the color of my skin, but I thought that the world was all cool. I thought the world was equal or whatnot. This is kind of that dark side really that I've kind of been initiated to, and this is that dark side that I realized that you have to master, no longer is it about really whatever, whatever you thought it was about before. It's really about you taking your initiative and really about you really being independent for real, y'all. Like the stars in the sky, they not really dependent on nobody else to shine. You know what I'm saying? Every day the sun gets up and it shines and runs around the earth for itself. You know what I'm saying? The light of Sirius, you know what I'm saying? The lights and just the moonlight, you know what I'm saying? The trees, you know what I'm saying? Everybody is doing things for themselves. So I'm realizing that this next step that I've been afraid of is really just independence. Before, you know what I'm saying, I had my parents doing stuff for me, or before, you know what I'm saying, I know I was able to I was able to depend on my circumstances, able to so called depend on friends or whatnot. But this new stage that I'm really realizing, and this new stage that I'm at, no one is up here for one. You have to realize, you know what I'm saying, that for one, you know what I'm saying, most people on earth are really sleep. You know what I'm saying? Most people not really own nothing for real like that. Even the people that call themselves so called waking up, you know what I'm saying, and being conscious or whatnot, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to really this true, like, you know what I'm saying, this true occult path and really connected with the inner spirit for real, you know what I'm saying, like very few people are really on that, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, it's kind of what I've been experiencing, you know what I'm saying? Who out here is really out here for you, you know what I'm saying? Who out here is really out here with you, you know what I'm saying? Everybody is with you, but who out here is on your same level and who out here is really with you? You know what I'm saying? You really have to realize, you know what I'm saying, that this is a soul path. It's a solo path, you know what I'm saying? It's the path to your soul. It's not the path to nobody else's soul. It ain't their soul. It ain't your mom and dad's soul. You know what I'm saying? It ain't her soul. It ain't nobody's soul. It's yours. You know what I'm saying? It's your path. This is who you are. You know what I'm saying? So on this path, you really have to be independent and you really have to just do you. You know what I'm saying? Something that I've been experiencing, like this just next step, is that I gotta stop being afraid to turn my light down. You know what I'm saying? I don't ever want to say it, but I'm the most bright shining star. You know what I'm saying? But I want other people to get the glory that people give me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like the spirits, you know what I'm saying? The spirits see my heart, but in essence, my heart is kind of like too open almost. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want everybody to succeed, but the way I'm going about it, I need to switch it up. You know what I'm saying? If I want everybody to succeed, I really just need to emit that light and they'll see what's good and they'll have to just get up on their own instead of me trying to do it for them. Slick kind of going to, if you teach a man to fish, you know what I'm saying, he's straight. You know what I'm saying? If you just give him some fish, you know what I'm saying, he'll eat or whatnot. But if you teach him how to fish for himself, you know what I'm saying, he'll really be good. And the same thing kind of goes for that. Like in my life, it's like, it's a constant, really like everyday reoccurring theme. And it's like, it's almost like kind of like a pressure cooker, you know what I'm saying? I also remember like having a talk too, you know what I'm saying, like over the break, that, you know what I'm saying, if you don't do what you're supposed to do in your life path, you will get punished. If you're not necessarily really true to who you really are, you know what I'm saying, if you're not true to what you're supposed to be doing and, you know what I'm saying, what you're really here for and what you feel inside, you know what I'm saying, you'll get punished. So a lot of times we feel and we experience, you know what I'm saying, sadness, or we experience waves of depression or whatnot because we not living the reality that we know we supposed to have lived. You know what I'm saying? We know that we supposed to speak to that female earlier, but we was being afraid, you know what I'm saying, we was prideful. We, you know what I'm saying, we was feeling some whatever type of way and we had whatever wall up. So that wall prevented us from making that move in this reality. So later, we experience the spiritual effects of it. You know what I'm saying? We should be experiencing a different reality right now. But, you know what I'm saying, since we not doing it, since we didn't do what we were supposed to do, and because we aren't experiencing the reality that we want to experience right now, we experience waves of depression. So another thing I want to tell y'all is that do what you're supposed to do. And like listen to the spirit and like the path is like it's the path is something that handles like everything really, you know what I'm saying? Like if you just listen to the spirit, you slick won't ever even be sad. Like not only will you be successful and not only will you be, you know what I'm saying, you could be wealthy and not only will you be, you know what I'm saying, like you know what I'm saying, you'll reach your path and be able to help people, you'll never even be sad either. Like, you know what I'm saying, like everything on all levels will be taken care of if you just listen to the one within. You know what I'm saying? This is a true, like, just sacred science that, you know what I'm saying, they not going to really teach all about, you know what I'm saying? But if you just listen to the spirit within, you're not only going to be straight on earth and you're not only going to be straight in the mind, not only will you be straight in the spirit, you'll just be straight on all planes, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, bro, at this new stage, you know what I'm saying, you really have to stop playing around, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people and a lot of us, and I know I've been playing around with it, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'm watching the little videos, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm researching and doing a little information or whatnot, you know what I'm saying? But what am I really doing? What am I really doing with it? Like, I'm doing a lot of talking and stuff, but, like, in my life and in my reality, you know what I'm saying, how am I really using what I'm gaining and what I'm learning to elevate and benefit myself? You know what I'm saying? Like, because the purpose of the path, anyway, is to elevate your consciousness, and eventually you will float off of the earth plane, you know what I'm saying, because our consciousness fell. You know what I'm saying? The spirit within, you know what I'm saying, just the one we are within, you know what I'm saying, that witness, you know what I'm saying, we are experiencing. Right now, we looking out through a certain level. The level that we on is this earth level, you know what I'm saying? But we come from and we reside on it. We exist in higher levels, way higher than this, you know what I'm saying? So the purpose of this so-called path and a purpose of this occult knowledge, you know what I'm saying? The knowledge that was left behind by your former selves, you know what I'm saying? You was the one who built the pyramids in the past, you know what I'm saying? You was the one who sold your ancestors out. You was the one, you know what I'm saying, who was in slavery or whatnot, you know what I'm saying? So that's why you the one who got to get free now. What you gonna do with it, you know what I'm saying? So use the knowledge that you had left for yourself in the past and like really use it, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like really use it for real, man. You know what I'm saying? Like really get it done for real, you know what I'm saying? Like stop playing with it. And I realize, you know what I'm saying, like do you and the right people will come around, you know what I'm saying? Because like you have to still put down your fear, you know what I'm saying? Because realize that it's infinite number of people on the planet. So why are you around the people that you are around right now? You know what I'm saying? If you are feeling attached to them, and if you feeling like things will want to change, you know what I'm saying, you really have to release your fear. And a lot of times it's the fear of being lonely, you know what I'm saying? You fear being by yourself, and you might have experienced loneliness in the past, you know what I'm saying? So you fear going back to that stage, you know what I'm saying? But you can't allow that fear to block you, you know what I'm saying? Because fear can block your blessing, because, you know what I'm saying, maybe you have to go back to that lonely stage so you can attract an even greater circle of this new self that you are, you know what I'm saying? Because everybody around you is a reflection of yourself, you know what I'm saying? So maybe you feeling some type of way because you slick aren't that old self that you were before, you know what I'm saying? The people that you attracted and the reality and world that you created and are experiencing was coming from a self that you don't even align with that self no more, you know what I'm saying? That self slick is dead. Slick has been killed, you know what I'm saying? So for one, just be patient and put down the fear, you know what I'm saying, and really just use this occult knowledge that you have and that you're gaining, you know what I'm saying, and actually use it to benefit your life, you know what I'm saying. So if you know that you are entrapped right now, you know what I'm saying, if you know that you are so-called enslaved, you know what I'm saying, live your life like it, you know what I'm saying, stop being naive, you know what I'm saying. If you, when the spirit speaks to you about certain things and certain people, you know what I'm saying, don't ignore what the spirit says. When the spirit tell you like, bro, Slick, don't go over there today, or when the spirit say, bro, pull up over here right quick, listen. The spirit not just speaking to you for no reason, you know what I'm saying? You don't have intuition and you don't have telepathic abilities for no reason, you know what I'm saying? Like, think about it, you know what I'm saying? When the superheroes, when they don't lose their power, when they don't use their power, they end up losing their power, you know what I'm saying? So the same thing goes for you, you know what I'm saying? You are a superhero, you know what I'm saying? You are a superhero, a superstar for real, you know what I'm saying? So listen to your abilities and listen to the spirit, you know what I'm saying? You can talk to God, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, God of the universe, the God that everybody call themselves following. The God that everybody so-called call themselves worshiping, you know what I'm saying? God actually talks to you, you know what I'm saying? So why not listen to God, bro? Like, if you think about it, you blessed, bro. Like, God actually talks to you. Because God still don't really speak to everybody, you know what I'm saying? God is in everybody's life, but God don't really speak to everybody, you know what I'm saying? I had heard, it was still like a great quote in church one time. It was saying, you know what I'm saying? Like, God is everybody's God, but God isn't everybody's father. You know what I'm saying? You have a special relationship with God, you know what I'm saying? God also could, you know what I'm saying, it really is also the mother too, you know what I'm saying? But, you know what I'm saying, just in that little, you know what I'm saying, I guess that, you know what I'm saying, that whatever, you know what I'm saying, for the purpose of that quote, you know what I'm saying? But, like, just really, at the end of the day, really just stick to yourself. And at the end of the day, really, you know what I'm saying, you really have to put down the fear. And at the end of the day, I'm realizing that it's no such thing as evil. You mastered the so-called light side, you know what I'm saying, like being nice and everything is cool, you know what I'm saying, being nice, treating people right, and just loving people. That's one side to it, you know what I'm saying, that's a half to it, you know what I'm saying. Definitely have that side, you know what I'm saying, because people sleep on that side too. Few people even have that side mastered too, you know what I'm saying. So, but you know what I'm saying, get that side, but also realize that you have to be assertive. Also realize that if you want something done, you really have to do it yourself for real. Like, if you want something to be in your reality, and if you want to be experiencing something, you can't be expecting somebody else to come into your life and create it for you. You know what I'm saying? If you expecting, you're gonna really be waiting for real, you know what I'm saying? This is some real wisdom that I'm telling y'all that I've experienced, you know what I'm saying? Like, just speaking from the males, you know what I'm saying, if you want a real female in your life, you know what I'm saying, if you want a real God in your life, you know what I'm saying, Shawty not gonna just magically appear, you know what I'm saying? Shawty is gonna magically appear, you know what I'm saying? But you have to do the work within yourself, and you really gotta put your pride and put your fear to the side, you know what I'm saying? Open yourself up so she can really manifest in your life, you know what I'm saying? Because how you thinking she gonna come, she slick may not even be manifesting in that form, you know what I'm saying? You really may be walking past her every day, but because you're looking for her in another form or another archetype, you missing her, you know what I'm saying? So just in summation, y'all, you know what I'm saying, for one, trust in your inner self. Yourself will speak to you, you know what I'm saying? For two, master the light side, but, you know what I'm saying, really get into the dark side, you know what I'm saying? And I can't even really call it light or dark, you know what I'm saying? But don't be afraid to be assertive. Don't be afraid to speak the truth, even if it will hurt somebody's feelings. Don't be afraid to speak the truth, even if it will hurt your own feelings. You know what I'm saying? Stand up for the truth is really the main thing of this video. And don't be afraid to turn your light down. You know what I'm saying? If your light and just your being and your essence has to make other people feel some type of way, then that's just the way it is. You know what I'm saying? You really have to be confident and be true to the spirit, because the spirit is out here using you, and the spirit might need you to work. So the spirit might need you to shine for some other people. But because you afraid to turn your light up, and because you're afraid of what other people gonna say about you, this other person miss out on a blessing. You know what I'm saying? So really just get right for real, and stay true to yourself for real.